try to do this without butchering my own English here. But good afternoon. We got a busy few days ahead of us here on the foreign policy front, and if you'll just bear with me, I'll give you an overview. This weekend, as Corrine noted, in Wilmington, Delaware, the President will host the leaders of Japan, Australia, and India for the 4th Annual Quad Leaders Summit. Now, over the last 3+ years, President Biden has made it a priority to invest in rebuilding our network of alliances and partnerships across the Indo-Pacific. And in the process of doing that, he has strengthened not only existing relationships, but he's helped forge new ones altogether. So think about AUKUS, for instance, or the trilateral Camp David Summit with Japan and South Korea, or the first ever U.S.-Japan-Philippines Leaders Summit in April, and of course, the Indo-Pacific Quad. Back in 2021, President Biden elevated the Quad to the leader level for precisely those reasons. He understood that bringing 4 leading Indo-Pacific democracies with shared priorities, mutual security interests, and strong bonds of friendship between our peoples, would make for a safer and more prosperous region, and quite frankly, a safer and more prosperous United States. Now, this particular Quad Summit will be the first time we've hosted foreign leaders in Wilmington, the President's hometown. And he's very excited about that, about showing them a place and a community that shaped so much of the public servant and the leader that he became. It's also a reflection of his belief that, like politics, foreign policy is also personal. And the President is enormously proud of the personal relationships that he has with each of these 3 leaders, Indian Prime Minister Modi, Japanese Prime Minister Kishida, and Australian Prime Minister Albanese. The President will meet individually with each of them, and they will also gather together in a larger plenary session where they will discuss expanding cooperation across a range of critically important issues. We believe that you'll see coming out of this summit that the Quad is more strategically aligned and more relevant than ever before. I think you can expect a robust agenda aimed at delivering concrete benefits to the people of the region as they all identify priorities such as health security, natural disaster response, maritime security, quality infrastructure, critical and emerging technologies, climate and clean energy, and cybersecurity. You'll also see some announcements that demonstrate our intention to make sure that this special partnership, the Quad, endures and, in fact, thrives over the long term. We'll have more details, of course, to share on the specific deliverables as we get a little closer to the weekend. Looking ahead to next week, on Monday, the 23rd of September, President Biden will welcome the President of the United Arab Emirates, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan, to the White House. Now, this will be the first ever visit by a president of the UAE to Washington, so it's a historic one. The Vice President will also meet separately with President Mohammed. Both the President and the Vice President have spoken with or met with President Mohammed at multiple points throughout the administration, and we look forward to the opportunity to have face-to-face discussions here. In particular, the President and the Vice President will discuss a number of bilateral and regional matters together with areas of deepening cooperation in advanced technology, clean energy, space, supply chain resiliency, and critical infrastructure investments. The UAE has made a number of recent announcements with respect to strategic investments in climate and clean energy, all of which build on the partnership to accelerate transition to clean energy, or otherwise known as PACE, which we signed with the UAE 2 years ago. We look forward to expanding this collaboration over the coming months and years. UAE is also, we might add, a leading partner in the President's Partnership for Global Infrastructure and Investments. Advanced technology, I think, will also be a focus of this discussion, including efforts to advance responsible artificial intelligence goals. Now, in the region, President Biden and Vice President Harris will discuss with President Mohammed, obviously, the crisis in Gaza, UAE's essential role in addressing the humanitarian crisis there, and the crisis in Sudan, where, as the President's statement made clear last night, we all must increase efforts to open routes for humanitarian assistance and ultimately to secure a ceasefire. The President and the Vice President look forward to this important engagement with a strategic partner at a very important time. And then finally, the President, as you know, will be traveling to New York City on Monday afternoon for the 79th meeting of the UN General Assembly. Throughout all his engagements up there in New York, he will reaffirm America's leadership on the world stage. He'll rally global action to tackle the world's most pressing challenges, including climate, the opioid epidemic, mobilizing resources for developing countries, managing the risks and benefits of artificial intelligence, and helping end the brutal wars in Gaza, Ukraine, and Sudan, among many other critically important issues. Specifically, on Tuesday morning, The President will deliver an address to the UN General Assembly outlining his vision for how the world should come together to solve these big problems and defend fundamental principles such as the UN Charter. The President will also meet with UN Secretary General Guterres and talk about how the partnership between the United States and the United Nations in advancing peace and safeguarding human rights can endure and to prosper. On Tuesday afternoon, the President will host a summit of the Global Coalition to address synthetic drug threats. We established this coalition ourselves just last year to drive international action in order to disrupt the global supply chain of illicit fentanyl and other synthetic drugs. This event will be an opportunity for leaders to drive progress on one of the most lethal global health and safety challenges of our lives. The meeting reflects the President's vision of countries working together to deal with problems that cross borders. Now, in this case, the coalition is playing a vital role helping our country deal with the fentanyl crisis here at home. The President will also have engagements with foreign leaders on Wednesday, and we'll have more to share on that agenda as we get a little